Hello guys, Borman here, and a few months ago I decided to make an online game. In this video I'm going to tell you how it was. Spoiler, before this experience I had never written a single line of C# code or done anything in Unity. All I had were an IT background and some design sense how to make a game of my dream. But before we start I want to say, this is my first video, so go easy on me, I am still learning just like with Unity. So, for now, let's go through the beginning of the story. Imagine, it was cold late autumn 2025 when I decided to find an interesting strategy game for my phone. I really love session-based strategy games like Civilization, Stellaris, Old World, and so on. Moreover, I had a few criteria for what I wanted to see in the game. I'll describe them in the killer features timecode, but for now, let's just say I really tried to find a strategy game that matched my expectations, and I couldn't. Some games were too hard to get into. In others, the pay-to-win mechanics killed the fun. Or, an unused stuff you have to make research to do something. So after many failed attempts to find a game I actually enjoyed, a thought struck me. If the game I want doesn't exist, I will build it myself. After that idea, I started to plan. I split it into two parts. Part 1, pick a reference and imagine what I want. Part 2, build the game. For the reference, I chose a game from my childhood called Galaxy Empire. I decided to borrow the core ideas from it, like the plans, the map system, that kind of thing. Then came the real challenge, making the game. Let's dissect it. Any online game has two parts, the client aka frontend and server the backend. After digging around, I picked Unity for the frontend. That meant I had to learn the engine and figure out how to write C# code. For the backend, I had to design the whole architecture, write the code, set up deployment pipelines, and somehow make everything talk to each other. And after that, I have just fixed the bugs. Does it sound really hard to do all this stuff by myself? It's fucking right. I spent about a month thinking about this plan, and finally on January 2026 I started. Firstly, online. I want to create a game where players compete against each other on a shared map within a single session. Secondly, it has to be sessionable. Here is what I mean. Imagine a 3-month session where everyone tries to become the best player on the map, and every month a new session starts, maybe with changed mechanics like different production rates, different boosts, and so on. Thirdly, it has to be fully open. So I want to make a game where every player can understand how everything works. How is an attack calculated? How does resource production work? You can open the code and check it yourself. Yes, I decided to make all the code open source. Fourthly, it has to be simple. In many strategy games you have to research technology just to unlock the ability to research or build something else. I don't like that. In my game, each technology simply gives you a boost, a clear, understandable boost, and you can build everything from the start without artificial frames. And last but not least, detonate. Let's be honest, pay-to-win mechanics ruin games. But I also understand that games need money to survive. Developers, service managers, it all costs a lot. Right now I am making the game alone, so there will be no donations. If that ever changes in the future, I promise to minimize the impact on the game. So yeah, those are the my top features. For now, let's go to the architecture section. Architecture. In this section I'll show you where to find the algorithms, game configs, and how the logic of the game works. Sorry, but there will be a few IT terms here. If you are not interested in programming stuff, feel free to skip this part. As I mentioned before, I need the client and the server. For the client I chose Unity over Unreal because I want to create a mobile game, and Unreal felt like overkill for this project. Unity uses C#, so all the client-side code will be written using it. For communication with the server I use either HTTP or WebSockets. And that's pretty much for the frontend. Now, let's move on to the more interesting part, the backend. For the backend, I went with the Golang. First reason, I really like its logo. Second and more professional, I currently work as a Golang engineer in big tech, so it just made sense. In simple terms, the backend architecture works like this. The Unity client talks to a public API. For now, let's call it Bridge API. Moreover, I have an event manager service handling all asynchronous operations. Bridge API creates an event for the event manager. Event manager handles it and changes the system state. This might sound a bit complicated, so let's walk through a simple example. Let's say a player starts an attack mission. The client generates an event and sends an attack request to the Bridge API. The Bridge API receives the HTTP request, puts a new event into a buffer for the event manager, and then responds to the player confirming everything is good. So basically, every game event goes through the event manager, and that's the core idea. If you're curious about how a specific algorithm works, there is a good chance you will find it inside the event manager. Let me show you how to check any algorithm. I've set up an organization that holds all the game repositories. I will leave the link to this page in the description, but for now, let's go to the event manager. Once the page loads, we can see the description and the basic architecture. Let's go straight to the internal service. All the algorithms live here. To find data attack, open mission and calc.attack.go file, for instance. Here we can see the attack algorithm and figure out exactly how it works. Next up, there is a configurator which holds all the game configurations. This is where you will find things like how many resources a mine produces, how much an upgrade costs, and so on. For example, if I want to find the research that boosts the resource production, I go to the config folder and open the config. Then I have to find the industrial technology, and I see that level 3 multiplies the resource production by 2.3. I won't dive into the entire backend architecture right now. You can find all this stuff on my GitHub repositories and explore it yourself. For now, let's go to the next part. The client. I recorded the current Unity client gameplay to showcase what I've built so far. Instead of explaining how to upgrade buildings step by step, I'll speed up the footage, add some live commentary and overlay it with a chill soundtrack. Sit back, enjoy the gameplay and vibe with the music. really believe you like this part, so now let's go to the next one, the roadmap. These past 4 months have been incredibly intense. I figured out Unity, wrote a lot of backend code, and I am not stopping anytime soon. There are still several major features I want to complete before launching any beta tests. First, I want to implement a ranking system. After that, I plan to add moons that can appear after battles. I also want to introduce a resource recycling mechanic. After combat, destroyed fleets will leave debris that players can collect using recycler ships. Once moons and debris system are finished, I'll move on to NPC plans with a completely different balance system. These NPC plans will exist in every system. In addition, I am planning to create a mysterious miss zone with a separate type of mission system. Players will be able to launch research expeditions there with unpredictable outcomes. Just like NPC planners, the mist will also appear in every system. Beyond gameplay features, I still need to create the galaxy and initial levels. And after that, I have to build an authorization system. That will require development a dedicated algorithm and an additional microservice. And once all these systems are finished, I'll need to remake the UI and improve the 3D graphics, support a mobile platform, run production servers, build a proper deployment pipeline for the backend, and retest the entire code base. Only after all of that I'll finally launch their first public beta test. Well, I finally made this video. In a way, this is my first real step in showing the project to the world. So what's next? Recently I created a Telegram channel where I'll be sharing development progress, updates, and behind the scenes work. If you found this project interesting and would like to support me, feel free to join the channel and stay connected with me there. For now, that kind of support means a lot to me. So thanks for watching and see you in the next update.